Welcome back to In the Outside with Vincent Ramirez. Previously, on part one of my interview with Thales Corrêa.
Well, my name is Thales Corrêa. I'm a writer and director, and I was born and raised in Brazil. I'm from like a farm family. I lived in Ireland for like almost a year learning English. I don't know. I just thought that it was a good country to try. Because I've always liked entertainment. I just didn't know how to go about it. I'm very confident about my sexuality, and so much that I did a movie called Bathroom Stalls and Parking Lot.
And now, part two of my interview with Thales Corrêa. Well, I thought the film was really interesting from a lot of, just different perspectives. I mean, you get the story of Leo. He's this guy that's really, trying to connect with this other person that he's, had a somewhat physical relationship with, but kind of at the same time, you kind of get this exposure of like different relationship dynamics. And you start really, seeing the perspective of Leo, who's looking for something other than just the physical side of things. He's wanting to have a relationship with this person. And then you start to really kind of wonder if maybe he's just looking for love in the wrong places, or just, or expecting it from the wrong, type of person. And then you have the other side that I was kind of, I think, in my head when I was watching the film was, is Leo just maybe infatuated? Maybe he's just, just easily falls in love and is just kind of, desperate a little bit from that perspective of finding that connection with someone. Or you get this other perspective of a relationship between him and his friends. They're hanging out with this one guy that is, I guess, maybe, supposed to be straight, but maybe kind of like questioning himself. And then you get the other friend, I think it's, I can't remember, it starts with a T, Toda. Yeah, Toda. And how their friendship kind of plays out. And I think at one point he says something like along the lines of, he's something like I'm a bear trapped in a Asian twink's body or something like that. And so
he's like a smooth Asian twink trapped inside a Brazilian bear's body.
yeah, that's exactly what he said. That's pretty accurate description of, I think, how portray that character.
It's very good you brought that up because like one of the reasons we want to do this film is because like we want to bring topics that me and my friend, we talk about it, you know what I mean? And like why the reason why he said that, so basically what happened on the scene, they're discussing about being masculine and being feminine. And this character that we're talking about is a friend of Leo. His name in the movie is Donnie. And Donnie is just telling to they're walking out of the club and they're talking about how like what we're gonna do. Like we need to find, we need to find a place to go. Let's go to the after party. And then he just starts saying that how he likes masculine guys like Hunter. Hunter is this character that claims that he's straight, but he ended up like messing around with those gay guys. And then Hunter keeps like cutting him off all the time. He's like, no, I'm straight. And then he says, why don't you just go for a masculine gay guy? There's a bunch of them here in Castro Street, And then he says like most of this, because every time most of those guys that are masculine, they prefer a smooth Asian twink, and this character like very feminine that wears nail polish and is very feminine, and this guy is very feminine, but he's bearded and a big guy and hairy, nothing like the way he sees what those guys prefer. And then that's why he's like, what, I feel like I am a smooth Asian twink inside, but I'm just trapped inside a Brazilian bear's body. That's pretty much what happened. And then the thing is, I mean, we're just playing along with stereotypes here. Those are type of talk that me and my friend talk on bars and when we're talking about guys, and it was like that's like I wrote this screenplay with with Easy Polizini, which is the guy who plays Donnie. And yeah, and then him and I, we were the one. This film has a lot of based on reality, obviously.
No, yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean, how much was it, created or developed from your own, personal life or from your own experiences? I was really wondering that.
Everything is derived from our personal experience. It was just built in the way that has some dramatic effect, like that. We just like made a plot that works on a cinema format and in a screenwriting process. But like the order of events and names and stuff like that. But like I dated a guy called Toda who who's been hooking up with me for a year, and we always and every time that we met, it was only in the bedroom, but he was really loving me. And then I would just stay overnight, but like I would never meet him outside the bedroom. That's how the concept of this film came about, because it was like a thing that I would talk to my friend all the time. It's like, I don't know what's happening, like, because why would he string me along for that much of time?
Yeah, right.
And also, he would say stuff that would deceive me. He would tell that he likes me, and that we would do this and that, and then time would pass, and I'm being confused. I was just like, oh, maybe I need to play a game that I don't know how to play, and maybe I should give his time. I don't know. I was maybe being stupid, but but like there was this thing, and I remember there was one day that he left the city, and he was like with his family, so we could not meet. He would text me and calling me nonstop. That made me believe, like, whoa, we're I mean something more special than just, why would you be calling me when you're on a trip, sending me hearts emojis and stuff like that? But then, I just move on with my life, and a year later, he was still doing the same thing, and I was still single, and I was still falling for that thing, and then that's how we broke back from Starling parking lot. Funny thing is, like, some of the text that we see on the movie, there's some scenes that we show him texting his guy, and we see a little bit the content of the text, and it was taken from my real conversations with him. So like,
oh, okay,
yeah. So we were inspired by that. Hopefully,
does he even know about the film? I mean, has he heard about it, seen it?
To hear that. I mean, if my film blows up to the point that reaches him, I'm good. Like, if he stumbles by mistake, that'll be bad. But anyway, I just watched the film. It's going to be one click more that I'll get. I don't care.
Oh, wow. But, so this is really truly based on one of your own personal experiences in your life.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, movie is perspective. Everything is a perspective. This is my film, the way I was interpreting our situation. And then I made the film and ended up being that way. Like, I don't want to give him a hard time in terms of, like, he might have his own reasons. If he does a film like that, I'm going to be the villain. I don't know. Who knows, It's just like, and to be honest, it was very liberating to be able to put that into art and put, take this story out and roll with it and make fun and laugh about it. Because honestly, it was really heartbreaking for me. Like, we even have scenes that kind of demonstrate that, like some things that I try to kind of like portray the emotion that make me feel a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, in the end of the day, it's a movie about like major heartbreaks, in the world of dating apps where everybody treat everyone as disposable items,
Yeah, because in theory, there's could be something else better out there, and at some point in the film, you even talk about that. If you don't give that person a chance to, just kind of explore things and see where things go, and the potential that that they might have, then you're always going to be looking for that next best thing. And I think that's really true, especially with like social media, and I imagine these just dating apps. There's just this constant exposure to this pick of people, and you might make connections with some people on physical level, and you might make connections with people and emotional level, and people are also at different places in their lives, and there's people that are just looking for just that physical one night stand, and there's some people that are probably really looking and wanting to invest in relationships. So I think it makes it really tricky.
Yeah, I think it gets bad when somebody tries to deceive the other for their own benefit. For example, I meet somebody on the dating app. We just go hook up, nothing serious, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and we also argue that on the film. But if you start stringing this person along and telling that you like them, it's gay or straight. Straight guys do a lot of that with girls. Try to tell that I love you, but actually they just want sex, and then they treat that person really badly, but it still keeps saying they're like, oh, I'm sorry I had a bad day or whatever, but she just keeps stringing them along, and the person believing that, oh no, he really likes me. And then in the end, somebody's going to get a heartbreak because definitely that's where I think it gets wrong there. If everybody's on the same page, we're like, hey, you know what, I like you, let's just have this, and that's fine. But if you know that somebody's liking you more, then don't tell you like somebody if you don't. Why would you?
Yeah, I definitely think I can relate to that, especially when I was a lot younger, and it can be a really difficult road to navigate, especially with if you don't have those things that just keep you grounded. And especially just keeping those things in check, and just making sure that I understand what my expectations are and what that other person's expectations are, and being able to have just that kind of conversation. So it definitely can be a difficult road to navigate.
Yeah, if I see somebody and I realize they're really liking me, and I'm not that into, if I know that there's no future, and this person is really try. I try to be really careful, and I'm not going to use that person this is the person that I can use to do whatever I want. I don't know. I think that's kind of mean, and that happens a lot. And I think that's what Leo goes through. You know what I mean? He's really believing this guy likes him, but in the end of the day, he's just stringing him along so he can, have a booty call whenever he needs.
Yeah. And so, how long did you all work on the film? What was the production like for that?
It was a relatively quick process. We start writing on December of 2017, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we start writing in the first week of 2018, and then we were ready on set on April, 2-3 months later. And then we had to go back, shoot a little bit more, and then we wrapped, and then we have a rough cut in June. So in the 6 months we have a rough cut. Mm-hmm. And then from there we start working on after the rough cut we start working on other post-production stuff, the colorist. You mentioned the color. We were fortunate enough to work with this colorist called Edo Brizio. He colored big films like Kong, Skull Island, and The Exorcism. He's a really big colorist here, and then he ended up coming on board and doing the color grading of the film. And and also that's how we're starting, because film happens in a lot of nightclubs, so we have a lot of music in it, and then I edit the film also. So when I edit, I put a lot of temporary tracks, in order for you to know how what type of music, how you're going to use the music, but you cannot actually use those music because it was most of the time it's copyrighted. So when I finished the cut and the color, we're like, oh, now we need to figure out the music, and that's how we decided to create this original soundtrack. You know, I mentioned the beginning of the interview, I mentioned Britney Spears as being my English teacher.
So you're walking around saying, oops, I did it again.
Exactly. I love music in general, and pop music and electronic. Like, I love, music in general. I love trash music. I love to listen to what's being released now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that kind of Madonna fan that likes the latest album.
Okay.
Like, most of the Madonna fans just like the classics. Like, I like her latest releases. Like, I always like to hear what's next and stuff. So I had this playlist when I was editing. When I was writing, I already started building a playlist. That's how music has a big part in my life. Like, I was like writing this screenplay, and some scenes I was like, oh, I can see the mood of the scene, like a little bit of this music. And then I would send to Easy, my co-writers, like, check it out, we can do like this, and then play this type of song. So when I was editing, oh, by the way, like, now that I'm mentioning, we were watching this series called Search Party.
Okay, yeah.
While we were writing this, and it was like highly influential for us because we loved the way the storyline was built and the music they used there.
Yeah.
And then, like, I took a lot from their music choices, from Search Party, from TBS. It's not like a very well-known series, but it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I've seen I watched the first season. And I didn't get to finish watching the second.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah, no, I loved it. It was I feel really bad because I just haven't had a chance to sit down and finish the second season. I did start, I think, at the first part, but I haven't finished the season yet. So
yeah, with Alia Shawkat.
Oh yeah, the main character. Yes, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. But like, so like I was making this playlist, like while I was writing the script and producing the film. So before I decided, I was like, before before I make any decision about the music of the film, I was like, I'm just going to try to get the rights of the music that I had here. Cause I'm already like attached for a long time. So let's just give it a shot. And then I started getting in touch with everybody that I used and that I used the music. And I ended up finding out that it's like a nightmare to get licensed. It's very expensive, and people don't want to deal with you, especially if you're a beginner. They don't even respond to your emails, and then there was like some music that won more than the budget of my own film. I was like, you're crazy. And then they have no idea. And then there was this and then I started getting in touch with the artists in person because a lot of the music's on my list. I use a lot. I listen to this radio called Above and Beyond Group Therapy, which is like electronic house progressive trance. Like when I'm working, it's very or working out. Like, and then there's like a lot of new fresh music there, and I saved a lot of them. And then one of the tracks that I saved was called "For You" by Senke. And then I just save I didn't even know who the people are. I just keep saving out like this, like that, and download and put on my iPod. I still have an iPod, by the way. Those old ones that you download. Yeah, I had one like way back in Ireland, like that had like, I don't know, 60 gigs, like I don't know how much space, infinite space. I still use it. It's good because you don't need, my gym doesn't have service. I can just like.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it being empty during your workout. I mean.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So like I download the music.
I have my own, I do use a small MP3 player also, a little Sansa. Yeah. So I put new music on it all the time, and I use it when I work out, and I could just, I don't have to worry about being disrupted by my phone. So yeah, it works out real good. So I totally get that.
Yeah, no, I like it. Podcast, iPods are amazing. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people in generation, like the young generation now, they didn't know what an iPod
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Some of the new millennials coming in, like, what is an iPod?
Yeah.
But anyway, like one of these songs that I was listening was from. Well, my point in bringing that up because like I used to have a lot of music that I don't even know who they sing on my iPod, you know.
Mhm.
And Same K was one of them. And then I was going on the list of people who I was asking permission for. I have this girl who were helping me like get music license, and she was giving me all of the insights. Like, oh, this, you know, this music here, the label is owned by 2-3 labels. You got to get in touch with this, that. And
Mhm.
then I, you know, they had a list on all the music that I used, and then it's like the same K here. His real name is Dimitri Shemikin, and then who owns is Anjuna Beats and blah blah blah, like all those European labels. And then you got to get in touch with all of them. And then I was thinking, who is this guy? And I'm just gonna start researching, and there was
Yeah.
like a very cute picture of him on Facebook. I was like, I'm gonna add this bitch. And then I add him on Facebook, and then I'm like, and then I know a lot of those guys, they're not very big. They're
Yeah.
very talented. They have those labels, those big labels behind it, but they're still not. And then he's from Russia,
Oh, wow.
10K, and then I was like, and then in my mind I was like, dude, I'm gonna tell him like how awesome would it be for like a DJ that is starting right now to be featured on a film, you know, even though
Right.
it was like a small film, it's still like a different thing for them. I
Yeah.
thought they would see the advantage of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had him on Facebook, and he was like so nice. And I sent him the scene, and he's from Russia. I was like, I'm giving like a blind shot here, like I'm gonna show like a gay film scene with his own music on.
Oh, wow.
And by my surprise, he loved it. And then he said, like, I've always wanted to write music for film. I
Wow.
was like, let's do it, dude.
Wow.
But then I asked. Initially, I was asking for his song. I was like, oh, can you give me rights for that song for you? And then like, check it out. I used it on the scene. And he's like, oh, that looks awesome. But like, who owns the rights is the label, so and so. And then like he couldn't do anything because the label owns it. And then he said like, but I love your film and I would love to write original tracks. I was like, you're gonna write an album for me. And then that's it. And then since then we started arranging to write it now. But then I got really excited because it was happening in the world that I love.
Yeah.
With a guy that I thought was very talented. He was excited to be on the project, and then I thought it would be a great ad also for the film, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's my debut feature film. It's like a low budget, but it also comes with a original soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah, and you've been promoting it as well, along with the film, and you sent me the sample through so you sent me some samples of it through Spotify, and it's definitely really fits the mood of the film. I think it really complemented the film. When I actually watched it, I recognized some of the tracks, and it's definitely the type of music that I think that you would hear in a club, or
Yeah,
I think it fit the tone of the movie really, really well. So that's pretty crazy that you made this
I
connection with this
know.
DJ that was
It's
on the other side of the
we
world
were
for you.
working from Russia, 12 hours apart from LA. We were working
Wow.
directly from. It was crazy, and yeah, it's on Spotify. Whoever's listening, if you want to check it out, just go to Spotify, type "Bathroom Stalls and Parking Lots" is the name of the album, and the artist is same K, Saneek. But yeah, it was crazy. It was the thing that. Well, I was determined to do that because I was like, at first I was like, it's going to be an amazing opportunity because we're building something fresh and something original. Because
Yeah.
the other alternative is like I cannot pay license, and also you know what I mean, and also there's like a lot of people do film and they grab a library like something that people sell, and that will be all the resources. But I just feel it is way more interesting to create something new and then the songs are about the film, like is written with the storyline of the film. You know, we have Summer Nights.
That's how I like it, and I won't deny. You know I like it, and I won't deny.
That talks a little bit about the character Hunter that doesn't come out every time, but he still plays a little bit. You know, then we have Already Home.
I'm already home. I'm already home. I'm already home.
And Don't Ghost Me, like we have a song called Don't Ghost Me.
Yes, yeah. And Intimacy, I think, is one of the other tracks that I heard.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And the thing about Saint K is, like, he's such a sweet guy. Is it straight, by the way? Whoever's looking him up, like, just calm down. and how amazing is that? Like, this straight guy from Russia just partnered up with this gay Brazilian dude in LA to do a soundtrack for LGBTQ film. And he's so talented, so hard worker, so nice. Like, this. You know, the sexuality was never an issue for him. Like, there's nothing about. We have queer art, like big queer artists, like Diamond on the track. Diamond Meat is this queer artist that did music with CeeLo Green, and he's this non-conforming type of gender.
Okay.
And then it was a very powerful voice. And so it was in the song it's called Back There, which is a little double meaning of you know, for love and sex, if you will. But so the daring album, the daring music, like the way the film is presented, and like to have this guy from Russia in Russia, in a small town in Russia, produced this album with us, it was amazing. It was very special.
Yeah, that is awesome. Very, very cool. Bathroom Stalls and Parking Lots, available on Spotify for streaming.
Yeah.
Now, you also contributed to writing and creating the lyrics for some of the songs. Is that correct?
I wrote 7 lyrics of the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have 10 tracks there, and yeah, so most of it. A song called You and Me, the Saint K did alone, and then Already Home with Terrell Carter. By the way, Terrell Carter is this amazing singer. He's very talented, very, very good. He's also from the LGBT community. He plays a character on the series Empire from Fox.
Okay.
So,
oh wow.
So he has a character there, and then he also sings on the show. You can look him up. He's awesome. Terrell Carter. And he did his song. He wrote his song. It's called Already Home on our album. So he wrote and sang his song, which is really good. It's that song for you, for whoever watched the movie. Like when Leo finds out and starts like following Toda outside the club, and he finds out like what he's looking for is not quite what to expect, and then that's like that chase song. It's a different song. I like it. Yeah, and then awesome. What else? Oh, we have the club banger called Don't Belong, which was written by the singer Ingmar Prince, which is another fellow Brazilian. And it's funny because this song Don't Belong, he's also straight, it touches a lot about, you know, don't belong and not feeling that you belong in the middle of a crowd of people. It can be very, you know, it can be, the theme can be related to coming out and not being accepted, but it is also straight. So it's interesting, like how like everybody came on board on this project, talking about, you know, LGBTQ issues, but even straight people came to collaborate.
Yeah, you had such an interesting mix and dynamic with this film and writing and directing, acting, music producing. I mean, you really invested a lot into this film, and I think it shows. I think it shows in a lot of different ways. You're very multi-talented individual.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I can only imagine the work and time that you spent, you know, working on this film and working on all the different pieces of it. And I was wondering about like when its final release, because I think you had sent the music information or the music samples to me first, and so I wasn't quite sure when the film would be released and what the timeline of those kind of things would look like.
Oh, you didn't know it was ready?
Well, didn't quite know. I think you had just been posting about maybe some sample, or you had been posting with the previews, and then you sent me the music. So I wasn't quite sure of like your distribution plans.
Yeah, and a lot of people get confused. Well, usually when films release an album, they release with the film or after the film is released, and I did the opposite. I released the album first.
And I think the music can even because I think I listened to the music before or looked at the album. I'm sorry, I listened to the music before I watched the film. Excuse me, and it was. I definitely was like, oh, I recognize this music in this movie, you know. So there was a little bit of familiarity that was kind of almost comforting from a viewer standpoint.
Yeah, I wanted that. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted because I feel there's that thing about like, oh, you're going to be in the world of the film, but also we did such a realistic film that like knowing the music beforehand and then you watch the film, it reinforces the connection to reality that the movie is trying to make, and also. I love watching a film and then it plays a song that you like and then you know, like you give that reaction that you just gave, like, oh, I know that song, like this, and it is a feeling that I was trying to achieve on the film too.
Stay tuned for part 3 of my interview with Thales Corrêa, and don't forget to subscribe to Any Outside Podcast and share it with all of your friends.
Like growing up in Brazil is like a different country when it comes to sexuality. So like when I was growing up, I experimented a lot, even with friends from college. And the funny thing is, like, even though we experimented between boys, we consider ourselves virgins. I felt that it was like a common path for everybody. Like, oh, we might experiment here, but like there's a certain age that you got to start getting girls.